Welcome back, friends and scoundrels. I'm Bran.
And this is not Bran.
Not Bran. And
this is Barry. What's going on?
This is Bluffs Reach. This is our kickoff of exploring foods and hormones and vitamins and exercises, and it's just a nice little series that we're going to do to help us find ways to be better for ourselves. That self-care that people don't like to do.
Self-care.
So today we're going to spend some time talking about cabbage. We're going to get nerdy about cabbage.
I love cabbage.
So the reason why I wanted to start here is because cabbage is incredibly beneficial to you from a nutrient and health standpoint. Go listen to our nutrient episode. We mention cabbage quite often.
Do we?
Yes. Maybe once or twice. Maybe I'm mistaken.
No. I mean, I like to say that you were mistaken, but you're not.
All right. Well, not Bran. You don't know what you're talking about.
I think it's Bran that doesn't know what he's talking about.
And then cabbage is really cheap. Really, really cheap.
Yeah, it is.
So it's very accessible, versatile, and just really good for you. And it can be a great substitute for a lot of the things that we've
built into
ingest.
our normal habits,
Yeah.
Our normal eating habits.
Normal eating habits,
Yeah.
yes. So we're going to break this down into a few things. The focus of this over time is to talk more, get really sciencey and nerdy about how these things affect your brain and different aspects of your body. Some of that stuff is easier to do because people have been, scientists and doctors have been exploring it a little bit harder with specific foods. Some of it, there's not as much.
Yeah, and diets have made, the hype train of diets and in nutrition have made that accessible these days. It's a real benefit for us.
But this episode's not going to be as good because we only had a week to
I'm
prepare
not
for
talking
it.
as much. That's why it's not going to be as good. It's mostly Bran talking.
We didn't have as much time to prep, and yeah. And it's our first episode.
It was COVID. We shut us down.
COVID did it. So I just didn't have much time to do research on my own. I don't know about Barry. He's done a lot of this on his own.
Building
we
years.
even talked about doing this. So,
and Bran will cover the science, and I'll cover the eating cabbage a lot. It's tasty.
So, first off, there's a few things to be aware of with cabbage. Just because something's healthy doesn't mean that it doesn't have its drawbacks, which is something that it was a little shocking to me.
What's that?
The drawbacks, the things to be aware of. Not necessarily harmful.
Well, I think again, like it's in conjunction, right? Like this, we'll find as you begin your getting after it lifestyle more clean, more healthy. You're gonna find that
there needs to be a balance of things.
There's a balance almost of everything, and some things will set off certain things, right? Like because certain foods are high in starch, you don't want to combine them with other foods,
Mm-hmm.
And some are high in certain other acids, and you just don't want to keep on going with that. And that's good to know. So cabbage, I believe, from what I've heard and my experience, we'll get into what cabbage can and can't do to you.
Yeah. So we're going to start off with the things to be aware of. I'm calling it that for cabbage because it's not necessarily harmful. Other things that we think are healthy can actually be quite harmful. I'm sure we'll find.
Yeah. It's not. It's there. There is no cabbage. Whatever uncloth or quaff, how you pronounce that, things that happen to your body when you're consuming cabbage. Couth, thank you. Uncouth. Wow. Anyway, happens to your body. Cabbage is good for you.
Yes.
Across the board. Now there are some things that might happen while you're consuming it, but that's just that's circumstantial.
So let's get into it.
Yeah.
I didn't really put this in there.
Why not?
Bloating and flatulence.
Yes.
There's can be an abundance of that. I think that's mostly due to one, how it's prepared, two, how much you're consuming.
I would also say again, in conjunction with.
Yeah.
Very much.
So.
And you'll find a theme.
What are they? Cruciferous.
Yes.
Vegetables.
Yes.
You'll find that with most
cruciferous. Yeah. Cruciferous.
Vegetables.
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 Vegetables. There we go. But yeah, it's always in conjunction.
But
and a lot of it. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. No.
I would say a lot of it is and I'm not going to pick on carbs again because carbs are great for a lot of different
They
things.
have their place and their purpose.
They
and
do.
There's certain things that.
But again, like within our culture, because you'll hear this come up a lot, and I'll say this probably very statement, where we are over the mark on carbs. It's not that we have plenty of carbs. We're hitting carbs. We're hitting too many carbs. Mm-hmm. It's just, we're to the point where, because of so many things, carbs are sugars. And they break down as in the way they stimulate our body, our mind, and the way that they work out for us. They give us short-term, satisfaction.
Yeah.
And so we have leaned too much into carbs as a culture, and that has a negative effect. If you lean too much into anything, it'll have a negative effect, I think. And some things it does take a lot more leaning, but carbs is not one of them. And if you look at the studies, how much if you look at your diet, you'll be amazed at how many things you say you don't go no carbs for this week.
Yeah,
you'll be left with just meat. Some people will just be left with just meat, in their diet.
If even that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard to have a pizza.
All right. So, I didn't really want the gas related aspects. I didn't think was really too big of a deal.
Okay.
But
it does happen.
One of there 4 things, including that came up a lot. Diarrhea is one of them. From the fiber, because cabbage is high in fiber. Now, I found this a little bit weird personally because there are essentially 2 types of fiber, and I need to do more research on this. I'm very curious about it for some reason. But there's 2 types of fiber. There's soluble and unsoluble. Soluble means that it breaks down easy, essentially softens the stool a little bit, but unsoluble means that it goes in and keeps your stool a little bit more solid. Right?
That's correct.
Not Barry, not Bran. Right, not Bran.
Not Bran, Barry.
So I just found that weird that cabbage has both of these things and diarrheas and aspect of that. Do you have anything you want to add on that, Barry?
I was trying to look something up right now, so...
Okay.
No.
Well, we were talking about this beforehand, and we were kind of wondering if maybe that isn't due more to the cabbage trying to help detoxify and clean your stomach out. So those carbs, and other more toxic things, or not necessarily more toxic. I don't want to use the word toxic necessarily there, but things that aren't the best for your body, the cabbage is coming in and pushing that out. And a lot of times when your body's trying to discharge those things, it comes out in diarrhea.
Yeah. That's very correct. And that's what you'll find a lot.
And that's why you get diarrhea when you're sick.
And you'll find
your body's trying to flush that out.
And I think that's a common theme with high nutrient dense dark leafy greens. I saw that.
No, I'm sorry.
Anyway, okay. So with high nutrient dense dark leafy greens, they are. I think I haven't had a chance to even look at the science yet, but it appears to be that they not only are very nutritious, they give us that nutrient. But I think the reason it's so capitalized, why it's the feedback on the health aspect and the extra nutrients for our bodies, is most of them seem to actually correspond with, they actually help your body clean out also.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah, because you see kale and spinach and stuff and a lot of detox juices.
Yes. Exactly.
Stuff like that.
So the ones that
I've never really bought into those ideas myself, but
right. I haven't looked at the, I should say, science. I have, when you want to eat clean or even detox, there are foods that you stay away from, and there are foods that you lean towards. Mm-hmm. And that's my experience with them.
Oh, I didn't talk about that when we were talking about nutrition. Anyways, one of the other things that you need to kind of be aware of is if you have low blood pressure issues and medications related to that, a lot of times they're blood thinners. Just because cabbage is really high in vitamin K and it helps thicken your blood up a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you are on medications or have oh my God, not clinical.
Well, if you have blood concerns,
if you have chronic low
Okay.
blood pressure issues, you might need to monitor how much
you can
vitamin
say-
K intake you're
You
getting.
can say clinically diagnosed is fine. You know, it's very common. Often, if we have an issue, we go to a doctor to find out.
But also, we're going to get into this a little bit with some things, like maybe changing your diet will help that period.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And-
we touch about that. Yeah, but yeah, absolutely.
And some other things. But I also want to add a little bit of a caveat with these, especially with the next one, that you also have to consume quite a bit of cabbage for some of these things to have an effect.
Well, yes and no. So you come to a point of diminishing returns on everything, right? So
Well, it's just the with the vitamin K is microgram count.
right, yeah, the amount of
So-
the grams versus volume, absolutely. But
That's what I mean by you have to consume quite a bit.
yeah,
Is that-
what I was going to say is, again, though, in conjunction, when you are changing your diet and you are removing often things that contribute to your body and bad blood pressure, you are also, at the same time, helping. The cabbage will actually help more, right? Because you're removing the stuff. what
Yeah,
you're putting
'cause it
in.
does have-
Yes, you'll
effects on the
you are
cardiovascular system.
you're having a twofold there in change. So you often will run into, if you don't mind me going on to a little bit, is we'll run into people who are, I have this health concern. Doctor says, okay, well, here are your pills. Now this also, because some doctors actually do know their stuff more or less to a degree.
They do know what they're talking about.
Food. Yeah, well, clinically and medically they do, absolutely. And but there's also the nutrition. What we don't have in our country, in our culture, is the bonding of the medical fields and nutritional fields as one,
Right.
which is a huge thing. Anyway, digressing back to, if your doctor says, well, cabbage and cabbage meals can help you with this, but they don't tell you, well, this you're eating 10 pizzas a day.
Yeah.
Just whatever. You're eating 10 pizzas a day. That's the cabbages. What they're going to do to you, you're going to come to a very heavy point of, diminishing returns. Now, if you remove or even just minimize a contributing factor of food
Yeah.
from that equation, the benefits, of course, of cabbage will be much more. And that's something that that's not always with these studies, especially on the science side of doctors. And what's talked about in medical articles is that side of it.
Yeah, I find myself a lot of times asking a lot of questions.
Yes, I'm now eating this. I'm not seeing enough changes, right? Well, you're still doing your bad habit of this,
Yeah,
which got you there.
yeah. And then the other one is hypothyroidism, which is it affects the thyroid's ability to
Yes.
take iodine in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what it's doing.
And I should have looked up.
And this one I really should have.
Yeah. So this is just hypothyroidism is. It's a what's the word for it? It's gripping our nation. Honestly, it's a pandemic. It really is, because it extends and includes so many different things.
The thyroid gland is so important to a lot of things. It is.
And what happens nowadays, and sadly, and this is my comparison I made earlier, is where the nutrition versus medical science there's not enough overlap. It's starting to finally be, but there is not enough up to this point. Where, well, we'll go and take it out of your body, or we'll go and have this removed. Thyroid is one that actually often does, and it's because of a horrible shit diet.
Yeah.
I've worked
One of the
with,
few things Alex Jones got.
right? That's hilarious. But yeah, no, it's I've worked with people who look like they could be an athlete on one day. If they eat fine, just decently because they're young enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Late 20s, and athletic as a child or youth, but they eat every day's pizza. Their job is they sit on their ass, So the habits they build, and they have their thyroid removed because X amount of health concerns.
Yeah.
But they don't change what got them in the first place.
Yes. And
Yeah, and then that's also, without me going on to the whole rant of, well, that's just how, we cannot hurt our economy too much. Let's not hurt the.
But I mean, you can do these things without hurting the economy, though.
I know it's a sarcasm because how much medical field, insurance, pharmaceutical goods, millions of dollars, billions of dollars,
trillions.
Yeah, I'm being nice. Again, I'm going to try to downplay it.
Trillions is being conservative.
Okay.
Not Bran.
Well, that's more pharmaceutical, I'd say.
Anyways, but again, this is the one where you really need to consume a lot of cabbage to trigger this effect. The stuff I was looking at was a minimum of 1,000 grams a day.
I still think that's. I think that's in conjunction. Don't worry about these grams and don't worry about the calories.
I'm just trying to cover our butts here.
Fair enough.
And like 1,000 grams equates
we're not doctors, by the way. This is just like what we know benefits
two
the body.
Dudes who are interested and want to see change in the
Yeah.
world.
These are foods and our opinions, and these are foods that do help the human body.
Anyways,
yeah.
So the stuff I was looking at said a minimum of 1,000 grams can trigger this, which is essentially one whole medium head of cabbage, medium size, every day.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like,
I'm sorry, but I'm not. So I've substituted cabbage leaves for burger buns. Mm-hmm. No one's eating that much cabbage, man. You are not. You can't even make a pizza. This won't hold the oils. And
to just give you a little bit of perspective, for my family of 4, we get about a medium-sized head of cabbage, and for a single meal, we'll cut that into 4 pieces because we've got other. We'll quarter it essentially.
Yeah.
And we are adding other things.
Yeah.
So
I'll just say, I believe that number is a little high because I believe if you are you are changing your eating habits, and you're learning about what does help and not help. I believe according to science, if you are restricting your carb intake, not eliminating it, but just not 5,000 Dairy Queen blizzards a day like I'd love to have, but one every 2 weeks or whatever it is, and you are upping your cabbage intake. Because most people, honestly, how many people do you think have let's say a burger, nice, delicious, juicy, freaking hamburger, with nice cheese on it, in between 2 cabbage leaves every day? Just for whatever, a cabbage consumption, I should say. Yeah. I'd say maybe 5% of the population?
At best.
Pushing it to get it to above a point.
I think that's being quite generous.
I'm a generous guy, man.
Anyways.
That's my final thought on that whole.
So, those are the things to be aware of. Just again, kind of to cover our butts, but we don't want anybody to just start chowing down on cabbage.
Yeah,
and
if you
end
have
up giving themselves a heart attack.
Yeah, you're not going to. I can say pretty safely, but always this is not medical professional help or advice. We're just aiming you at things that help the human body.
Yes,
these are with something else.
I will do some follow-up research on some of this stuff and put that in the show notes below for better
some guys that talk about
references.
It. Some individuals, doctors who talk about this. Absolutely. Nutritionists,
people who are experts and professionals.
Yes.
So the goods. So cabbage and the other calciferous vegetables have a micronutrient called sulforaphane. And that is a huge. We're finding that is a huge element in fighting cancer.
Huge chain, huge block.
And there's a couple other things that cabbage has that also help reduce cancer, but everything mostly focuses on the sulforaphane.
Yep.
So
the reduction that's like good sleep. Also, the same thing.
Yeah, sulforaphane does a lot more than fight cancer. Yeah. It's big in a lot of things.
And if you can get you don't want to chew it up in a pill form, which, God damn it, anyway. But again, if you can, target these things, good to go in conjunction with.
Yeah. It's good for your cardiovascular health. We kind of touched on that a little bit, and a lot of the stuff that I was looking at.
Well, it's going to be overlapping, but that's fine.
Yeah. I read like 3 or 4 articles
and
watched about 3 videos or something. So somewhere between 5 and 10 resources that all kind of overlapped. A lot of them were listicle style, so the information wasn't great.
Yeah, no, yeah, going to doc. There are a few doctors that have spot on talked about this. Dr. Mark Hyman, he talks about the benefits of what is it? Sulforaphane on his show. He's on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Check him out. He lives this healthy lifestyle. He's getting after it. He's like in his late 50s. He's running on the beach. He's a guy that just like lives. I think he wants that target lifestyle, and so he goes after it. He's also a doctor, but he also has amazing guests that talk about these things that help your body, help you live healthier and longer. Just enjoy things without saying, "Well, these pains suck."
Just kind of an aside on that, like these people, these doctors like that, like him, Huberman's really good at it because they are so knowledgeable on these things a little bit on their own. They know to ask the right questions.
They have crossover, yeah.
Well, they just know to ask the right questions.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's part of what helps get the good information out of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're like that's like they're you can see when it's great because again, like this is the time we're living in. This is one of the benefits of times we're living in, when people have a genuine lust and love and enjoyment for these type of things. Humans all over it.
Oh yeah,
and that's kick ass. That's really good. Guys like dudes like Echo and Jocko, those dudes that are they just want to chew up the day and spit it out. So they're going after it big time, and they are doing the same thing.
It's good for your digestive system. Cabbage is.
Yeah, and that's huge. Like.
And there's a few elements to this.
You can't understate. No doctor from I've seen nutritionists or doctor crossover who've discussed these things in Agnesium can't talk about just benefits to the digestive system. It's just anything that can do that is amazing.
Yeah, adds diversity to your microbiome. The fibers in there help push things away. What else?
Supports.
Did I not make
supports your microbiome completely in your gut?
It helps with the linings and the barriers.
Yes, because there is also a rather large, and I'm not sure if you came across this, but a large issue called leaky gut syndrome, where most children nowadays are almost born with it just from our diet, genetics. It doesn't take much to pop bad bacteria eating away that lining, which makes holes within the gut, and our good acids and all these things and all the good bacteria seep through that, and that's where you get the indigestion. That's where you get heartburn.
Only good while they're in your stomach.
Yeah, they're only good. Well, yeah, sorry, you're not. Yeah, floating around with other things. Yeah, exactly. And this is something that is an issue from high carbs. It's something where you get indigestion from. Something you get heartburn from.
Probably a lot from the antibiotics and the formula.
Yep. Exactly. The antibiotics, the formulas. So all these things have added to that, and it is again I'm not going to be like run for your life, but yeah, it's an issue that many children are born with it automatically, and it gets worse over time. Most people, if you're not, by the time you're my age, like that was part of the issue that led to my gallbladder issues.
Okay.
It's all connected. So yeah. Excuse me. So one of the focusing things
there it is. I did have intestinal linings and barriers.
There you go. Yeah, you're right there. Okay. 7 down, 8 down, 9 down.
It's an inflammation reducer, which can be important, but it's one of those things that you can't overdo.
Well,
because inflammation is a trigger to our body that we need to kind of back off a little bit sometimes.
So inflammation.
Chronic inflammation is bad. That's where you want these inflammatory reductive.
Yeah, you'll be a doctor for that. You will. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, because you can have chronic inflammation and.
But at least what I'm saying is you'll for other reasons.
Yeah.
It'll lead to other reasons.
But it also that has an impact on your immune system.
Yes.
And
yes. So Huberman has talked about this many times, and somebody else I was just reading. I think it was Dr. Robert Ludwig, which all the leading diseases we have, and he's talking about diabetes, are come from inflammation
Yeah.
of one organ or whatever it might be of another. Is that wrong?
No, I was just having a thought with type 2 diabetes.
So, yeah, and there's another. We need to cite. I wonder if we should do this with type 2 diabetes, and so there's so many different people attacking this right now. I mean, the eye doctor from Australia.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are all over type 2 diabetes. What's the Lou Gehrig's disease is one thing. Also, what's the other disease? Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Is now being called type 3 diabetes, or is it type 4 diabetes?
Interesting.
Yep. There's a lot of that. So, again, we're not doctors. This is just, crossing over of nutritional lines and barriers of people who are actually doctors.
Yes. It's good for your vision.
Yeah, as you know what that
I forget what I saw.
If we went through if we pick some of the superfoods that I like avocados and a lot of you'll see the same list.
Yeah. Was it you that was talking about
yes
blood sugar
yes
and how it affects your vision?
Yes. Like all the eye issues. And
I think I even saw a video on it while researching this where your blood sugars affect the shape of your eye.
Yes, and so I need to rewatch that video, but I forget his name. He was on Low Carb Down Under, but he did a great speech about how people's horrible diets have made him rich. Oh, because
just have Low Carb Down Under. You didn't actually have his name last time either.
Sorry. So he
dang it, not Bran.
Not Bran. So he goes into it he won, I believe it was 2020, where he won Australian Man of the Year.
Nice.
He didn't get to do his tour because of lockdown.
Yeah.
But what's in his speech on there, he goes into it's made him rich, but health.
Yeah.
Right. And so he had a rather good research and speech about it was on low carb, so it's about sugars. And again, you're gonna find a lot of these things, a lot of the intersecting things is I already said it once this podcast, but it's beating a dead horse, but it's so true that our Western culture, which reaches vast across the globe now, has led to a high overabundant consumption of carbs.
Yes.
And this has led to, it keeps some industries, so many health issues. And it keeps some industries very, very financially happy. But
and part of that is financial influence to maintain some of these industries, sure. Right? But we kind of beat the crap out of that in the nutrition episode.
Yeah, we did.
It's good for your skin. Saw something saying, make a cabbage juice and rub that all over yourself. Whatever. Which
no, it's not. So again,
but even ingesting it, probably not going to have the same effect as that.
It will actually. It will. It's just in time. It depends. Again, these aren't across the board. Each individual will react differently. Why? Because of genetic DNA.
Yeah.
But also because of lifestyle genetics. Yeah, choices. Heavily.
And the chemicals you're using from your not soaps and not shampoos.
Exactly. And there was a funny, hilarious, somebody shared, it was yesterday or today, people were complaining about, I can't go outside because the sun makes me break out because there's oils in my skin, so I need all these extra oils, I have to buy these oils from the companies. And stuff. Mm-hmm. No, that's the oils that are coming out in your skin are all the crap that you ingest.
Yeah.
You want your acne, and this is a dirty secret that's very well known.
Maybe it's also because you don't go out in the sun a whole lot.
Well, that too, but it is more or less what we're consuming to make our skin break out this way. And like a dirty secret is if you have acne issues, you need to detox your diet. You need to find out what's causing it within your diet, because a lot of people, and within the realm of
we've known that though.
Yes,
right? If you eat greasy foods, you're gonna break out a lot more.
Yeah. And that, you know, that's just the Kickstarter, right? That's just the obvious thing of it. You know, it's and most of the greasy foods are, you know, given to us by, you know, high carby sugars or whatever else. You know, so.
Yeah. Fake meat burgers.
Fake meat burgers
from Doom Burger Joint.
You know, yeah. Well, even like processed fake veggie burgers, because most of the burgers we have, like if you are a vegan, cool, man, good on you. Watch what you eat. You're you know, just like us who want to eat clean vegetables. You need to watch and read the labels on what you're eating.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. Getting the Impossible Burger from Burger King is not.
It's not a real win, I'd say.
May as well be eating Soylent Green.
Yeah. well, it ain't a win, that's for sure.
What else we got? High in potassium.
Yeah, it's great in potassium,
which is great for your body in a number of ways. Helps with cramping. What else? Sleep.
Well, yeah, it's like cramping of all sorts. Sleep. Yeah. I just repeated what you said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sulfur. We all think of sulfur and demons and how bad that is, but sulfur is actually really good for your body, which is also part of where the flatulence and bloating comes from, is this production of sulfur.
Yep. And again, that's a chemical reaction again, so I don't think. But sulfur's good. Salt's good, by the way. People watch which salt you're eating. We should do on salt.
We should do salt, because salt is good for you, but there are bad kinds of salt.
There, exactly. Salt's all like sugar. Well, but it's not that big. Anyway, what you said was right. There is commercialized salt, which is not healthy for you.
Yeah, but we're not talking about salt here.
Okay, sorry. Moving back. I digress. So high in vitamin.
Oh man, I forgot everything that they said about sulfur and what all it's used for in your body. Because it helps push out bad metals.
Well, yeah, it helps break
and
down.
Helps activate the good metals that we want, like magnesium and iron.
Those two are very important.
Yeah.
But yeah, it helps break down. It helps all the organs pass through. What is it? It has to do something with your urinary tract. I can't remember what it is.
I really don't remember.
Yeah. We're not doctors, but it's good for you. This is a
again. There'll be better information down in the show notes, so that way I'll find that and
we will share that information with you.
And then it's just high in vitamin C, A, B, K.
Not D.
D isn't a vitamin, anyways.
Well, it's a
hormone.
Yeah, but we do synthesize it.
Yes.
To be with K, which is important.
But actually, like, cabbage is a much better source of vitamin C than almost everything else we've been told.
Yeah, cabbage. So again, like dark leafy greens is better than, like, if you have like, oh well, here's it. That's it was. Well, so how it started. So how it started is, what are kids going to eat more, an orange or a cabbage?
Right.
That's the argument. Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I actually heard in a podcast that I was listening to about cabbage, that the vitamin C that we get from fruits actually gets negated by the sugar in those fruits. And that's the first time I'd heard it. Do you want to say anything about that real quick? Or?
Yes and no. I think that's more like a warning shot. So in our society, we have such an abundance of sugar already that the returns you're going to get are nominal. So you just go to something else. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your gut space. Go to something else that is going to have not just the sugars, but the vitamin C.
Yeah.
So in a way that if you, it's almost so much. I was gonna say, if we don't, vitamin C is a very important vitamin, and it's very sold, right?
Noticed that my gums, and this is something I just recently learned, that my gums are a lot better since I've been eating a lot more cabbage, and it does help reduce the inflammation,
swelling,
but also just in general makes them a little bit healthier.
There was something with the saliva, but So vitamin C, again, that's true. If we were honest, straight and narrow, so like say you were eating a clean diet, good to go. Have an orange.
Okay. Yeah, and like the podcast today just
And by
recently
the
come
way,
across this
yeah.
information.
Yeah, and by the way, that orange,
it
if
just
you're
kind of
not,
passed.
yes, and they're it's legit.
just a comment
It
in
sounds
passing.
legit. Yeah, it sounds legit. They were trying to do it right, but if you say you haven't had a candy bar for a year, awesome. You don't really need it. You can get your
High five
cards.
to you out there if you've done that.
Right. Or I'm just saying, like, just any manufactured candy, right?
Yeah.
So, but you have an orange. That orange tastes way better than it will taste from you or I right now. I've been there.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I fucking love oranges.
Yeah, when I was 5, a 5-year-old Barry was all about oranges.
I'm still love.
Yeah, you pretty much are
oranges,
still
not
5-year-old
Bran.
Barry. So, but yeah, if you're not into cabbage, a win can be jalapenos, huge in vitamin C. I love hot peppers. If you we need to do another one. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So, a lot of the important vitamins.
Things to know. We just covered that shit.
Well, some other things to know, right? Like,
Yeah, man.
I'm sure a lot of people ask, what's the difference between red cabbage and green
Kimchi.
cabbage?
We almost need to make this kimchi right now.
Hold on. We'll get to that, Barry.
Yeah.
Really,
Kimchi.
there's not a whole lot between red and green cabbage.
No.
There are areas where red cabbage is much higher in some of these aspects than green cabbage is, and there's a couple where green is higher than red.
Yeah.
From all that I've seen, that's pretty much the main difference.
From what I know about, so the most serious reason I would look at the red and the green, right? Mm-hmm. Is because if you're eating red, you're a dirty flipping Sith, and if you're getting the green stuff, you are clearly an awesome bad A Jedi, getting after it, fighting that.
I have a nice
dirty
balance of both.
Yeah. There's no
Very.
balance.
Not Bran. I keep trying to run with it and I forget.
I know you do. Woo!
All right, so one of the other things, different serving styles offer different results, and that's true of a lot of vegetables.
Yeah, well, that's the diet, right?
Different preparation styles. So
Yep.
like steaming, eating it raw. So here specifically, if you pickle it like sauerkraut or kimchi, that's where you're going to see the most digestive benefits.
Yeah. It is legit. Like,
And
it is a.
not to say cabbage on its own will help in general.
Yeah. This is not. Yeah, this is not as opposed to at all, right? So this is kimchi and sauerkraut. It depends on which region
I
of
want
the
to
world.
propose a question real quick though.
I won't marry you again. What?
With the pickled and the additional benefits to the digestive system, is that because of the cabbage, or is it the cabbage and the vinegar, or does the vinegar influence that a lot on its own?
I believe vinegar influences a lot of things on it.
Because we know that apple cider vinegar for sure does.
Yeah. So it's vinegar is amazing.
And that's
triggering.
one of those
It's whatever
points of
triggers.
this is made out of cabbage.
It triggers
so
a fermentation, and those what's the word?
biomes.
Yeah, those biomes, those microbes that come off that are fucking, super.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a little mini healthy nuke to your stomach. And again, like that's like, so do you do much sauerkraut or kimchi?
We don't in my house because the wife doesn't like it.
Right. So there you go. That's what I was gearing towards. Like, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Although, ironically, the
Shush.
people that
What?
don't like cabbage
Can get into kimchi.
like some of these other styles.
Yeah, kimchi.
Because it kills the part that they don't like.
So here's what I was gonna say.
Get on it, Barry.
Okay.
Get after
If you
it.
stop interrupting me. So kimchi.
Choo-choo. Or no,
Kimchi is scientifically the best, from what I understand, simply because it's fun to say.
and I haven't even tried kimchi.
Yeah.
So is it much different than sauerkraut?
No. I mean, it is just the way it's
Like,
prepared. But
yeah.
overall, no, but really, for real, it's not the name. Being silly, it is. You try to. Like, I try to take it as this is a bad A thing to eat, and I like having new things. Right? Like I literally get bored. Like, and that's actually why we go out. Like, our need to go out and try things is a boredom thing. It's
Yeah.
so within our culture. It's now we're associated with that. It's the way our mental makeup is when it comes to food. So experiment. Tell yourself, I'm going to experiment with this, and try to trick yourself. Have it with something that you enjoy, and sometimes you will, especially as your diet changes, your tastes will change. As your diet gets more clean and you eliminate more crap from your palate, things like this will actually become more appetizing.
Yeah.
So try to sell it to yourself in a little sly, trickery sort of way you can. That's what I would say about that.
I want to look into making our own sauerkraut and kimchi just to see if we
Kimchi-
can maybe mess with the flavor a little bit. See
Yeah,
if
you
it's a
can.
little-
There's a lot of different. Like you can add. Like you can do barbecued both. I believe I've done barbecue kimchi.
I grew up as a kid eating not a lot, but I did eat sauerkraut quite a bit because it came in a can and it was cheap.
Yeah. Where are you
But
from?
I'm also, there's a lot of German.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You dirty little kraut.
So you eat it with sausage.
Yeah.
Bratwurst.
Bratwurst. Oh man. A good
Anyways,
brat.
so we're not going to get into all the different ways of prepping it and how it works because I didn't do that research, but also because we're trying to keep this relatively
Stir fry
short.
shrimp and got
But
Bubba shrimp.
chopped and chewed up raw is the best way to get that sulfurate.
Yeah. Chopped it.
And some of the other stuff. Like I said, different.
Yeah, again, like this, the simplest way I do it, like again, like make myself a nice grilled cheeseburger patty, and throw that on the, plate it with 1-2 leaves, and there you go.
And then the other really, really important thing about cabbage is that it's cheap. And it's a great substitute for a lot of the grains.
Yeah.
Some of the recommendations I've heard, and I've had kind of done this. Slice it up, so it's kind of like noodles to replace in your soups and stews and stuff.
I haven't tried that. I do that with cucumbers and other things. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of
I got a
noodles.
cucumber. I got to figure out how to work that in sometime.
It's not hard. You can almost do it yourself if you're good with a knife. But I recommend a grater.
You've mentioned like 50 million times just in this, not even including the other episode that we just recorded.
Yeah.
Using it as in replace of a bun.
Yeah.
Cabbage.
So,
like you could eat billions of burgers off of one head of cabbage.
yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, it saves money. It's kind of funny. And when I say kind of,
it's kind of a rice substitute.
Yeah.
For us
so if you're not into,
and like we don't eat like the crappiest rice either. We use jasmine rice. Yeah. Which is a little bit better.
So I grew up with a lot of Asian friends, and so I loved white rice with butter or just whatever, almost plain. Yeah, I know. So here's the bad about rice. This is why I always say that look for an alternative wherever you can. There's a few things you can use as an alternative, but rice is nominal on nutritional benefits. And it's generally just a filler for your body.
And if you look, like I know a lot of people are like, well, all billions of Asians eat rice, and they're the healthiest people on the planet.
No, that's not true.
But it's mostly the poorest people that eat rice, and some of them eat nothing but rice.
Yeah, and also
it'll keep you alive.
We know that. I mean, you can see this by generations that move here from other countries. The nutritional kickback. How large are Asians?
Not very big at all.
I'll rest my case. That's known. Like smaller cultures that have less nutritionally dense diets.
Yeah.
It's really often it's really less anything other than that. And it's not across the board, but it's just, and we can get into that more. Anyway, yeah, it's a cabbage, diced up, sliced up as you can. Good to go.
Yeah. And coleslaws are great. Everybody loves coleslaw.
I hate effing coleslaw.
You're a liar.
I'm not. That's actually,
man.
Yeah, for real. I actually
made not Bran. This is why you're not Bran.
This is not Bran's a jerk. But I made coleslaw with my own homemade mustard and mayonnaise, which is not coleslaw per se. It's a spicier one. I tossed in some jalapenos. Whatever. It was pretty dang tasty.
Vinegar.
Jalapenos, bro.
Vinegar in there too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
just like a tablespoon or whatever. You don't need a lot. It gives it a little bit.
I want to try it with diced up barbecue brats.
Actually, another good one I saw was with olive oil instead of mayonnaise. So, anyways, I'm gonna put a couple pages down below, or a couple links down below for some stuff. One of the pages is gonna have a lot of recipes for a lot of different things that are keto based diet.
Well, they're clean.
We'll find
right?
some other recipes and stuff.
And this, keto doesn't have to be keto. It depends on what you eat after, right? If you made a pie, and it's from, and it's like not in the dirty sugars, et cetera, or you made anything, you don't have to do strictly keto, but you can do keto for a week again. Get yourself, it cleans out your system big time. Mm-hmm. Now that's the biggest benefit of keto. Next week, stay clean, but if you want to have your pie, you want to have some carbs, some actual, more than 8 grams a day. There you go.
All right. So what do you want to talk about next time, Barry? Putting this on your plate.
Man, I want to talk about superfoods. Like the most common average superfoods that we can incorporate into our diet.
Do you want to talk about a specific one, or are we just going to kind of gloss over them real quick?
Man, all right. Do you want to talk about superfoods, or do you want to talk about salt? Salt is pretty big.
Salt, yeah.
Can we do a whole episode about salt?
I'm sure we can.
Okay.
Because these are meant to be shorter anyways.
Yeah, they are. You're
trying to
talking too
keep
much.
Around a half hour
You
or so.
You just keep on going. I'm like.
So, anyways, I guess we'll talk about salt next time. Fuck, stupid thing.
Did it die?
No, that stupid thing that pops up. Yes, I see your extra virgin olive oil.
Extra
Rub
big.
All over you.
No,
Jump
this is.
through that hoop.
Well, man, like I already have a bottle of it, but I want to make some. I'm making my own, mayonnaise.
Anyways, so that's our episode on cabbage. I think it was a good introductory episode. Covered stuff pretty decent. Not Bran happens to know just enough to keep me from looking like an idiot on this one. So.
But not himself, unfortunately. We'll try to improve on that.
So yeah, come back next time.
Yeah, if you tune in, thank you very much. This is just us trying to help, because there's you just stumble upon being passionate about it. Health. It has a lot to do. It overlaps a lot with everything in our lives, from medical to just daily activity, having more energy for our loved ones, to your mood,
how you treat your loved ones, and your pets,
your people,
how much you want to interact with other people.
For sure. Yeah, that's a huge, maybe the big misnomer one. I don't know if we should talk about that. We'll have to debate that.
All right.
Off camera.
Anyways, thanks for listening.
Thank you. I'm right there with you. And get at us. Get at anybody. Be hungry is what you're looking at. Thanks again for tuning in.
Get at it and be better.